They say everybody has a breaking point, and in this episode, we saw more than one person snap. The Chi Season 7, Episode 8 doesn't slow down for anyone. It grabs you, pulls you in, and makes you question who's really got control and who's just pretending. Let's talk about it. This episode felt like a quiet storm. It wasn't loud with action, but every moment carried weight. You could feel the tension growing, scene after scene, like something was about to explode. From the first few minutes, you can tell this one's going to get personal. It's not just about street politics or relationships anymore, it's about survival. People are hurting, some are hiding, and a few are finally standing up. It's like everyone is reaching a point where they have to choose who they really are. That kind of pressure, it changes people. The tone was serious, deep, and honestly, kind of heavy. Even when there were lighter scenes, the mood didn't fully lift. You could still feel the pain under the surface, like everybody's smiling through something. That's what the Chi does best. It shows real life, not just the flashy or dramatic parts. Episode 8 gave us a mirror to how pain and power often live in the same room. Whether it was in a look, a silence, or just how a character walked out of a scene, you could feel the weight on their shoulders. And let's talk pacing. This episode didn't waste time. It moved with purpose, but it didn't rush. That's something I noticed right away. Every scene felt like it had a reason. No filler, every conversation gave us something, whether it was a clue, a warning, or a straight-up emotional punch. You know those episodes where even the quietest moments feel loud. This was one of those. One of the things that stood out instantly was how connected the storylines were. Even if characters weren't in the same room, you could tell their choices were affecting each other. It's like all these people are walking separate roads but headed toward the same storm. The way that she weaves all of that together, it's what makes it more than just a show. It feels like life. So if I had to sum up my first reaction: tense, thoughtful, emotional. This episode didn't just entertain, it made you feel something. And not just for one or two characters, for everybody. Even the ones you don't usually root for. That's how you know the writing is strong. You walk away thinking about choices, about pain, about whether people can really change or if they're just trying to survive one more day. Let's start with Emmett, because honestly, this man is walking a thin line. He's trying to do the right thing, but every decision seems to drag him deeper into trouble. You can see he's tired, not just physically, but emotionally. There's this moment where he's sitting alone, not even talking, and it says everything. He's overwhelmed being a father, a businessman, and somehow still getting pulled into Douda's world. It's wearing him down. And the sad part, he doesn't even realize how much it's showing. He's trying to protect his family, but the way he's going about it might end up hurting them more. There's a difference between being a provider and being present, and that gap is growing for Emmett. Kiesha is another one who's been carrying so much. You can tell she's trying to stay strong for herself, for Emmett, for her kids, but this episode gave us a glimpse of her pain. There's a conversation she has that feels quiet, but powerful. She's asking for support, maybe even peace, but it's like no one's listening. And that's what makes it so emotional. Kiesha isn't asking for the world, just honesty, love, and stability. But she's in a world where trust is fragile and loyalty comes with a price. Her strength shines through in small ways, in how she keeps going, how she speaks up even when she's tired. That's real power, silent, steady power. Then there's Douda, the man everyone loves to hate. But here's the thing, this episode made him feel more dangerous than ever. Not because he shouted or acted wild, but because of how calm he was. That quiet confidence, that I already know what's going to happen energy, that's what made him scary. He's playing a long game, moving people like chess pieces, and nobody seems safe. Every word he speaks feels like it has a double meaning. You never know if he's offering help or setting a trap. And that's what makes his scenes so tense. It's not just about what he says, it's about what he doesn't say. Watching Douda this episode felt like watching someone build a house on top of a ticking bomb. Victor, on the other hand, seems to be reaching a turning point. He's done with pretending. Done with being quiet just to keep peace. He's starting to speak his truth. And even if people don't like it, he's saying it anyway. That's growth. You can see the shift in his body language, in the way he walks into a room. He's not scared anymore, but that kind of honesty. It comes with consequences, and the way that she is building Victor's story, you just know something big is coming. He's too honest for the world he's in, but maybe that's the point. Maybe he's the one trying to change the rules instead of just surviving them. Let's not forget Polkari. His scenes this episode were shorter, but they hit hard. He's got so much anger and confusion inside him, and it shows. You can see it in how quick he is to fight, to shut down, to act out. But there's a moment where his guard drops just for a second, and you realize this is a kid who's scared, who's lost, who's just trying to find a place where he belongs. That's what makes Polkari so complex. He's not a villain, he's not a hero, he's just human. And those little glimpses of softness, they matter. They make you root for him, even when he messes up. And one more character who deserves a mention is Gemma. She's been stuck between love, loyalty, and identity, and this episode really showed how tired she is, tired of pretending everything's fine, tired of being in the middle. You can tell she's ready to take control of her own story, even if it means breaking away from people she cares about. Her growth is quiet but strong. It's in her eyes, her tone, her decisions. She's learning that sometimes choosing yourself means losing people, and that's one of the hardest lessons on this show. All these characters are on different paths, but they're all asking the same question. Who am I becoming? And that question doesn't have an easy answer. That's what makes this episode so powerful. It doesn't give clear endings, it just gives us truth. And in the Chi, truth always costs something. This episode might not have had explosions or shootouts, but the emotional stakes? Through the roof. The kind of episode where conversations do more damage than bullets, and that's what makes it powerful. Let's walk through the biggest plot shifts that shaped episode 8. One of the key storylines that stood out was Emmett and Douda's relationship hitting a new level of tension. There's this one scene, simple on the surface, but it changes everything. Douda says a few words, nothing loud or crazy, but it's loaded. The kind of words that sound like a favor but feel like a warning. Emmett realizes he's in too deep, and it shows. You can see it in how he reacts, how he tries to hide that fear but fails. The power dynamic has shifted. Emmett's no longer just trying to keep the business running, he's trying to survive without getting swallowed whole. And the real question now is, will he fight back, or will he fold? Then we have the political story arc with Victor. That one is really heating up. In this episode, he's finally stepping into his own power, but it's risky. He's starting to say things publicly that others only whisper. And when you live in a city where silence is often safer than truth, speaking up paints a target on your back. There's a scene where Victor makes a bold move, something that feels like the beginning of a bigger storm. He's not trying to play safe anymore, and that kind of courage, it doesn't come without cost. You can already see people pulling away, some watching him closely not as a friend, but as a threat. He's starting a fight that might leave him standing alone. Another plot thread that quietly packs a punch is Kiesha's storyline. She's starting to feel the emotional toll of trying to hold it all together. The balance of being a mother, a partner, and a woman with her own dreams, it's not easy. There's a moment where she opens up, and it's raw. She doesn't scream, she doesn't fall apart. But her silence, her tired eyes, they speak louder than any words. She's starting to realize that taking care of herself is just as important as taking care of everyone else, and that realization. That's going to shift her path in the episodes to come. Asterisk, so many of these plots are moving at the same time, but they're all tied together by one thing: pressure. Every character is being pushed by love, by money, by power, by fear. And when people are under pressure, that's when you see who they really are. Some are cracking, some are rising, some are breaking the rules to protect what they love. Asterisk episode. It isn't about fast changes, it's about deep ones. The kind that don't always scream, but always stick. The kind that don't end in one episode, and that's what makes this one so strong. It's the calm before something bigger. You can feel it coming. The stories are all moving towards something major, and the tension is just getting started. Asterisk. Meanwhile, Bakari's story takes a dark, personal turn. We don't get every detail, but what we do get is enough to show he's slipping. He's being pulled into directions trying to be better, but also holding onto the pain and anger that built him. There's a moment where he's about to make a choice, and you don't know which way it'll go. It's that tension, that unpredictability, that makes his storyline one of the most gripping. Will he take the path that helps him grow, or the one that feels familiar but dangerous? That question lingers even after the credits roll. Asterisk, Gemma and Jake also have a storyline that speaks quietly but hits hard. Their relationship has always been complicated, but now it feels like they're drifting. Not because of one big fight, but because of life pulling them in different directions. Gemma's starting to want more space, more independence, more say in her life. Jake, on the other hand, still wants to protect her, still sees her as his. But that's the problem. She's not asking for protection, she's asking to be heard. Their scenes are emotional, especially when you realize love might not be enough to keep them together. Sometimes growth means growing apart. Asterisk, one of the most intense plot points involves a mysterious scene connected to Douda. No spoilers here, but let's just say someone close to him might be playing a dangerous game. There's a conversation, a small action, something subtle, but it feels like betrayal is coming. It might not explode now, but the seeds are planted. And in the Chi, secrets don't stay buried for long. When this one comes to light, it's going to shake up everything. Asterisk, another plot thread that quietly packs a punch is Kiesha's storyline. She's starting to feel the emotional toll of trying to hold it all together. The balance of being a mother, a partner, and a woman with her own dreams, it's not easy. There's a moment where she opens up, and it's raw. She doesn't scream, she doesn't fall apart. But her silence, her tired eyes, they speak louder than any words. She's starting to realize that taking care of herself is just as important as taking care of everyone else, and that realization. That's going to shift her path in the episodes to come. Asterisk, so many of these plots are moving at the same time, but they're all tied together by one thing: pressure. Every character is being pushed by love, by money, by power, by fear. And when people are under pressure, that's when you see who they really are. Some are cracking, some are rising, some are breaking the rules to protect what they love. Asterisk episode. It isn't about fast changes, it's about deep ones. The kind that don't always scream, but always stick. The kind that don't end in one episode, and that's what makes this one so strong. It's the calm before something bigger. You can feel it coming. The stories are all moving towards something major, and the tension is just getting started. Asterisk, let's be real, the Chi Season 7, Episode 8 was one of those episodes where the real action was emotional, not physical. And that's not a bad thing. In fact, it's what makes this show stand out. Instead of relying on flashy twists, it leans into slow, meaningful storytelling. That being said, let's break down what worked and what didn't quite hit. Asterisk first. Off, the writing was strong. Conversations felt real. Nobody sounded like they were reading lines. They sounded like people who've lived hard lives and carry their past in every word they say. Whether it was a heated exchange or a quiet moment, the dialogue had purpose. It revealed pain, power, fear, and growth all in simple but powerful ways. This kind of emotional honesty is what pulls the audience in. You don't need gunfire or chase scenes when words carry this much weight. The pacing was also really solid. Some viewers might call it slow, but that's only if you're expecting action every 5 minutes. This episode took its time, but for a reason. Every scene built on the last, nothing felt wasted. If a character walked into a room and said just one line, it mattered. The show is clearly setting up something bigger, and this episode was the quiet loading of the gun before the trigger gets pulled. That slow build is intentional and effective. Let's talk performances. Even without naming the actors, you could feel the emotions coming through the screen. Kiesha's exhaustion, Emmett's quiet panic, Victor's determination, Douda's cold control, it all felt real. You didn't need to see explosions to feel like something serious was happening. You just had to watch a character's eyes, their body language, the way they paused before speaking. The cast continues to carry this season with depth and subtlety, and episode 8 is proof of that. Now, on to the minor critiques, because no episode is perfect. One thing that could have hit harder, more development for the side characters. We see glimpses of people like Papa, Linny, and others, but only in passing. There's so much potential in their stories, but they feel a little underused here. A scene or two more would have helped round out the emotional impact and kept the world of the Chi feeling as full and connected as usual. Also, the episode did a great job building tension. There were moments where it felt like it was almost about to give us a major reveal, but didn't. That's fine if it pays off later. But in the moment, it leaves you wanting just a little more. Maybe one more twist or a deeper dive into one character's secret. That extra push would have turned this from a strong episode into a standout one. Still, when you step back and look at the whole thing. Episode 8 delivers. It's smart, it's emotional, and it sets the stage for something big. You can feel the storm coming, relationships are breaking. Secrets are building, power is shifting. And everyone's being forced to make a choice. That kind of storytelling. It sticks with you. So, here's the final take. This episode was less about what happened and more about what's about to happen. It's the build-up, the emotional groundwork. The kind of episode you'll look back at after the finale and realize this was the turning point. Not loud, not showy, but necessary. And now, I want to hear from you. Which moment hit you the hardest in episode 8? Do you think Emmett will finally cut ties with Douda, or is it too late? And what's your prediction for how things end for Victor? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk. And if you're feeling the breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in. More Chi thoughts coming after episode 9. Trust that. Let's be honest, after everything we just saw in episode 8, episode 9 is about to be a pressure cooker. Emmett's walls are closing in. Douda is still pulling strings. Victor's taking bigger risks, and relationships are hanging by a thread. Something is going to snap, and when it does, not everyone's walking away clean. We've seen the buildup, the lies, the loyalty being tested, and now it feels like we're entering the part of the season where people start paying the price for all the choices they've made. I wouldn't be surprised if episode 9 gives us a betrayal, maybe from someone we don't expect. Or where someone finally catches the heat from Douda that's been a long time coming. I've got my theories. Maybe Emmett finally fights back. Maybe Victor's honesty gets him burned. Or maybe Palkari, who's been walking that dangerous line, makes a decision that flips the whole story. But now I want to hear what you think. Asterisk drop your predictions for episode 9 in the comments. Asterisk who's in the most danger. Asterisk who's going to flip. Asterisk and do you think there's any chance Emmett gets out of this clean? Asterisk if you've been rocking with this breakdown and want more weekly Chi thoughts, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and tap that notification bell so you don't miss the next drop. I'll be back right after episode 9 with another full breakdown, same tone, same real talk. Asterisk until then, stay sharp. Because in the Chi, silence can be deadly and loyalty might just cost you everything. Asterisk.